Hello everyone. So this video is going to take us through how to get started planning, designing, and executing your new home build. So I've been in the construction business for about 10 years. I graduated with an architecture degree and worked for a hospital for a few years, went into the architecture field for 5 to 7. And I'm back in the healthcare field again doing the engineering thing. And so I've been fortunate enough to be involved with a lot of different styles of construction. And I am by no means the professional at doing residential construction. This is just my opinion and kind of what we have done for our home build. So I, as I said, I went to school for architecture, so I was able to learn a lot in terms of creating the document, how things are built. So I am familiar with programs such as Revit, AutoCAD, etc., to create my own blueprints. And that is a big step in a lot of things. You're going to need blueprints for the bank. You're going to need blueprints for your local code inspector. You're going to need blueprints for your builder. You can't really build anything without a set of drawings, and the drawings are critical to this whole process. So that's the very first thing that you really need to understand, is to get those created by someone that you trust, that is knowledgeable in what you're looking for. You can expect to pay, and this is in New York, Rochester region. Depending on the complexity and size of the house, I think you're looking anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 for a set of blueprints. So, like I said, it's well worth it. It'll definitely help your dream come true if you start off on the right foot with a good set of prints. So, having said that, what we decided to go with our house is a slab on grade, monolithic slab, or otherwise known as Alaskan slab. And the reason we went with that is for quite a few reasons, actually. The main reason is time. We wanted to get this house built in a timely fashion. We want to be into this by next spring. And, we're doing this ourselves. So I have a hard time thinking that I can be forming up a basement, excavating for a basement, and doing all those things and pouring 3 separate times and staying on schedule. Other advantages is your formwork is very cheap. We're using rough cut lumber, as previously mentioned in other videos. I have $500 into my formwork lumber here. You can expect to spend a lot more than that on doing a full basement for a house. It's very easy to prepare the site to begin to form up your foundation. Basically, you start with a flat site. You mark out wherever your corners are, get everything generally square using paint on the ground and some string lines and batter boards, and then you start excavating that shape of the house down about 2 feet, 18 inches, whatever the local code tells you to do, if it is approved in your region, which is another subject to this. Is you got to really make sure you're working with the architect and your local code official to ensure that this is even allowed by code. A lot of places do not allow this. Fortunately for us, we're in Southern Tier, New York, and it is in New York State Building Code, and they do allow it. I will post a whole separate video on how to look at New York State Building Code and understand monolithic slabs. Another benefit to using an Alaskan slab is, as we get older and we have a hard time getting up steps, down steps, this is a very simple house to live in. If there's someone that is disabled or impaired in any way, this place will be built with the exterior grade essentially the same level as the finished floor of the house. So everything is on one level. We do have a portion of the house that is a second story finished attic, but that is just a bonus room. It's really no main part of the living quarters is there. So it's really, this is a very simple house to live in terms of if you're getting older or you're disabled in any way. So those are the main reasons, and another thing is it's a single pour. You form everything up, you get all your utilities in, and the concrete truck comes once. You pour and you're done. Typical, conventional, even if you're not doing a full basement and you're doing a 4 foot, you're doing a frost footer with a foundation wall, and then you're pouring your slab, you're looking at 3 different pours, 3 different site logistics setups, and getting a hold of the concrete team and the concrete trucks. It's just a lot more work, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me for what we're trying to do that. So when you're thinking about designing your house and what you're looking for, you need to start with a program of what you think you want in the house. For us, we knew what we wanted. We wanted to keep it fairly simple, open concept. We wanted X number of bedrooms, X number of bathrooms. And from there, we generated a shape, a style, and then we just, manipulated that to something that we like, and we went from there. And here we are with a set of drawings. So when you do lay something out, though, it's really nice if you can lay out to whole numbers. Our house is about 48 feet by 66 feet. But as you can see, everything is to a whole number or to a 4-inch increment. That way, if you do decide to use masonry block for your foundation construction, the mason's going to love you because he's not cutting block. Make sure you lay it out to 8-inch increments. That's something that we picked up on, back in my architecture days. It's just it's a lot easier for constructability when it's done to the 8-inch increment. And then another thing that I do, and this was something I added later, is dimension everything, so people can read the prints easily, and then pull the diagonal dimension and then label it. This is the only way, when you build these forms, this is the only way you can get this square, is by using a diagonal. So I can see I just missed a diagonal note here. But for example, this section of the house, I was able to find out if this is square based on this diagonal length. And this is done by using Pythagorean theorem, which everyone has probably learned in grade school. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I'm just saving the builder a lot of time by putting this right on the print. So I think this is handy if you're going to try to build your own house. Just do this. You don't have to have a construction calculator that way, or you don't have to be worrying about crunching numbers when you're trying to build. Another thing to think about is if you have any significant weight of any kind inside the house, I recommend a thickened slab. For instance, we're going to do a fireplace in the center of our plan that could have stone on it, it could have brick on it, it could have something very heavy on it. So we're going to thicken this, and this is also code mandated. If you're, depending on the fireplace you're installing, if you're doing a traditional firebox install, you usually have big chimney block underneath this on your foundation. We are going to purchase a UL rated assembly, which could be installed anywhere, even on a wood frame. So for us, this is only about supporting the weight, not for fire rating. So think about that and talk that over with your architect if you're working on something like that. I'm going with 4-inch concrete, 4,000 PSI fiber concrete. We want that to hopefully keep this thing from cracking. In that concrete will also be 12 gauge wire mesh. which will also increase the strength. And that'll be setting on a 2-inch XPS foundation grade insulation, which will have our radiant heat tube stapled to it. Underneath the 2 inches of insulation is a vapor barrier, which sits over about 6 inches of clean stone over, this is the most important part, undisturbed soil. This is critical. You do not want to build a house on fill. If you do, you're going to be wishing you didn't pretty quick. We had to excavate quite a bit on the site. As you can see in some of the videos, it's kind of on a hill. We are able to get down to rock. My excavator contractor actually had a ripping tooth on his excavator to even get through some of it. There was so much shale, rock. So I'm very confident that where we're at, where our 0 point is on undisturbed soil, which is a clay and rock based soil. You do not want to be building on anything with organics in the soil like topsoil. It will not compact, you'll sink, and you're going to be cracking, and you're going to have all sorts of issues. And the last thing with foundation design I want to mention is if you have a shower, a tub, a floor drain, think about how are you going to put your plumbing trap in there? How are you going to trap it? With toilets, the trap is integral to the toilet bowl, the water, so sewer gas can't come out. But with a shower drain, you have to have a trap or a sink or anything. And since that shower sits tight to the concrete slab, you don't have a lot of room. So what we did is I just found a center to where my shower is going to be, and we're going to box this out and not pour concrete in there. And that way I'll be able to assemble the plumbing trap as needed to make it work. Same thing goes for the master bedroom shower. This is going to be ceramic tile with a curdy drain system, and I haven't really selected what I'm going to use there yet. So I'm just electing to frame this out, use rebar pins and just a 2x6, 1x6, whatever, and just don't pour the concrete in here. You can always come back in here with ready mix concrete and pour it in there later, and then flash patch in to get your slope to the drain. Another option is select a trench drain that you can cast right into the concrete. There's a lot of these on the market. Zern, J.R. Smith, Curdy makes one. I don't know which one we're going to go with yet. I might just put in a small round drain. This is for a mechanical room, so it's really not absolutely critical. It has to be a trench drain, although I would recommend them over a small round drain. They just catch a lot more water. Something to think about there, because you got one chance with these style of houses. Once you pour the concrete, it's over. So, and then just wanted to just show you guys, this is the foundation plan. Here is a wall section, or the foundation section. It needs to be a minimum of 8 inches wide. We went 24 inches deep to the bottom of the footing. You can see there's a couple number 4 rebar in the bottom. There's one in the haunch. The haunch is how the footing transitions into the slab. Remember, this is a 4-inch concrete slab sitting on the 2 inches of foam, sitting on the clean stone. So you have to transition that, and that's a thickened part of the slab, which keeps the whole slab very strong. We elected to put a piece of rebar here and here, and every 8 feet or so doing a 4-foot long piece bent in the middle that ties everything together into the slab. So that's kind of how we did it. I'm not saying it's the perfect way of doing it, but I think it'll work good for us. And then the most critical thing to do with a foundation that is a monolithic Alaskan slab is to make sure this is insulated up the edge of the slab and out minimum of 2 feet. This is what keeps your slab from moving, folks, in the winter. The frost is down here. If this was not here, this insulation, your frost would be underneath your footing and you'd have heaving. This keeps the frost from driving underneath your footing. This is why this is allowed in New York State, Alaska, Canada, all these places with major frost issues. If you do not do this, this will be a bad day for you and your family. And the building code inspector is going to be looking for this. So this is the most critical part of doing Alaskan slab. I will post more videos as we get closer. We're not really there yet, but I'll do a video of how we did it, and so you have a better idea kind of what you need to plan for. And then the last thing I want to show you is what I did for my underground. This is a utility plan. This shows everything that's underneath the slab. The brown orange color is sanitary. The red is hot domestic water. The blue is domestic cold water. The green is propane or natural gas, whatever you're using. And yellow is electrical. So this is critical that you know and you plan for wherever all of your hot and cold water lines are going. Your drains need to be dimensioned. This toilet needs to be set perfectly with it from the finished face of the exterior wall, for instance. You know, this is a must. This drawing is probably the most critical for this, for the builder for this style of house. He has to know where your utilities are going. And it's a lot better and a lot easier for him, and he's going to be more accurate if you do a separate print that shows everything dimensioned to the center. We use 4-inch and 2-inch. As you can see, I dimensioned from the edge of the slab right to the center of the toilet. Dimensioned the box out for that tub I was talking about earlier. You know, we show right where all of the hot and cold lines come up into the walls, which you can refer back to the other plan. I didn't want to clutter this plan too much. The main thing is the sanitary is right on the money, and anything poking up into your wall stud, it's got to be dimensioned properly. So again, this is critical, and you know, I just think that it's something that your builder can't go without if doing this style of house. Conventional houses have a basement, so all of this stuff that you see here in color is done in the basement ceiling. Not a big deal. You can build this house and you can go in and plumb it later and do everything else. This, when you pour a slab for a monolithic slab, you're done with the utility work in a sense. All you got to do is hook your fixtures up at that point and put in everything in your mechanical space. Another side note with this drawing, I did a elevation riser drawing for the sanitary. So when I'm laying this out and I'm using the transit, which I showed you guys in an earlier video, the transit was sitting back here, or the laser level device, we're holding right as I put this sanitary 4-inch in, or this 2-inch or anything, I can shoot that and ensure that I'm getting the proper fall that I need, which I am going with between 3/16 and 1/4 inch a foot. If I'm between those two, I'm happy. I think plumbing code in New York State or National Plumbing Code might be 1/8 inch. I think it accepts 1/8 inch a foot. I've talked to a lot of professional plumbers. They wouldn't recommend doing anything less than 3/16. They typically shoot for 1/4 inch a foot. So that's what we're doing. I did every 10 feet. I know how deep I have to be to the top of my 4-inch pipe. I need to be 8 inches off the finished floor level. And 20 feet, I need to be 10 inches off. And 30 feet, I need to be 11 3/4. So you get the idea. I pulled a string line out all the way down through here. And I took a paint can every 10 feet. I put a mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, resembling 50 feet. So I knew right where to put my transit measuring stick to see what that elevation is. So worked really well. You need a couple people, unless you have the fancy transit that's a laser that beeps at you. You can probably do it by yourself. But so far, so good for us. I will post a video of the underground plumbing in particular the sanitary and what we're doing. So, like I said, so far so good. We're happy with how everything's working. And please like and subscribe. You know, it's a big help. This will get this video out to more people. My goal with every video is to just help people. I mean, I spent the previous winter putting all these drawings together, trying to think through as much as I can. I've been on YouTube. There's been a lot of people I've been referencing, been doing the same thing. It gets my mind thinking about other ways to do things, and I've also taken a lot of pages out of their books. So this is a great thing to help people. More people need to be able to do things by themselves. This world is not an easy place to live in. Everyone can do it. It's a matter of you have to put your mind to it. You need to read. You need to understand. You need to watch videos. And you just can't be lazy. And that's the last point I want to make. This is a ton of work. It takes dedication. And if you want to live in a dream home someday, then that you can't be lazy. You have to get after it. And I know this. I'm going to be living and breathing this thing for another 2 years probably. So, like I said, please like and subscribe. We appreciate everyone's time. And yeah, comment with any questions, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you very much.